There is a woman sitting at the center of one of the most scrutinized relationships on the planet, and she has never once looked uncomfortable. She does not flinch under the cameras. She does not shrink in rooms full of billionaires. She does not apologize for the life she is living. Her name is Georgina Rodriguez, and before she was on the arm of the most famous footballer in human history, she was a 22-year-old girl from a small town in Spain working a shift at Gucci in Madrid. That detail matters more than anything else you will hear about her today. Not because it makes her story a fairy tale, because it tells you exactly the kind of woman she was before any of this began. The story most people tell about Georgina is the wrong one. They frame it as luck. A pretty girl in the right place at the right time, spotted by Cristiano Ronaldo in a shop, and lifted into a life she could not have imagined. That version is comfortable because it keeps her passive. It makes her an object of circumstance rather than a woman with architecture. And it completely ignores what actually happened in that Gucci store and every single day after it. Georgina Rodriguez grew up in Jaca, a small city in northern Spain. Her father was incarcerated during her childhood. Money was not something her family had in abundance. She moved to London as a teenager to work as an au pair and learn English, then moved to Madrid, where she took a job in retail. She was not connected. She was not wealthy. She had no industry access, no famous family, no platform. What she had was something that does not show up on a CV, but is visible in every photograph ever taken of her. She had a quality of presence that made people feel she already belonged somewhere important, even before she arrived there. When she met Ronaldo in 2016, he was already the most decorated player on earth. He had dated models, celebrities, women from every tier of the public world. He was not a man who was easily impressed. And yet, within months of meeting Georgina Rodriguez, something had shifted in him that had never visibly shifted before. He did not just date her, he built his life around her. He introduced her to his children, he moved her into his home, he brought her to every major event, every country, every chapter of his career from that point forward. This is not the behavior of a man who found a beautiful girl. This is the behavior of a man who recognized something rare. The question worth sitting with is not what Ronaldo saw in Georgina. The question is what Georgina had already built in herself that made her recognizable to him. There is a specific kind of feminine presence that does not come from beauty alone. Beauty is common at every level of the world Ronaldo occupies. What is not common is a woman who is completely unbothered by the weight of a man's fame, who does not perform gratitude for being chosen, who does not shrink herself to fit the space available. Georgina Rodriguez walked into Cristiano Ronaldo's world and did not change her posture. She was warm, she was feminine, she was devoted, and she was also entirely herself. That combination is rarer than people acknowledge. Watch how she moves through the public record, and you will see the same quality in every decade of footage. At the 2018 World Cup supporting Portugal, at the Cannes Film Festival in 2019, in Saudi Arabia after the Al Nassr move that shocked the football world. At every point where other women in her position might have visibly struggled, the relentless media attention, the scrutiny of his fan base, the comparison to his previous relationships, the move to a country that is a completely different cultural world from the one she came from. Georgina Rodriguez looks like a woman who had already decided who she was before any of it happened. That prior decision is the thing. It is the most important psychological detail in her entire story. Women who know who they are before the relationship begins do not lose themselves inside it. They do not need the relationship to tell them what they are worth. They bring a complete identity into the partnership. And that identity does not dissolve under pressure because it was built on something real. Georgina was not waiting for Ronaldo to define her. She already had a definition. He simply entered a life that was already in progress. The Netflix documentary, I Am Georgina, which she co-produced and which now has a third season, is the clearest window into how deliberately she has constructed her public identity. She chose to show the grief of losing her son. She chose to show the domesticity of her daily life. She chose to show herself cooking, laughing with her children, navigating the ordinary logistics of an extraordinary life. In an era where celebrity image control defaults to distance and polish, Georgina chose intimacy, and it worked because the intimacy was real. You cannot manufacture that quality for 2 hours of television. What you saw was a woman who had nothing to hide because she had nothing to perform.